Professionally, as of now, I'm an athlete. I'm a national level athlete. I represent state at the national level.
So basically, I work for this NGO called UNI. They help to educate underprivileged children from backgrounds who they're not in abject poverty, but they come from low-income families, and very often they're not able to finish their education. So UNI aims at helping them to finish their education, as it gives them a much better opportunity at getting jobs later.
Yes, I am doing an internship right now at an ad agency called Pink Lemonade in Bangalore, in which I'm doing copywriting, which means writing the lines that you see, the content that you see, the written content in ads like billboards and flyers and stuff.
Frankly speaking, the scope of athletics in India is slightly bleak, if I say so myself, because I feel that the exposure and the infrastructure as such at the grassroots level is not very strong for you to make a career out of it.
Quite fast, we've expanded to a lot of other cities. We're now in Bombay, in Pune, in somewhere in the north. Um, a small institution called us to come and hold a camp there. So basically, you're spreading education to a lot of people. You're making people a lot more employable in the country. That unemployment has always been a problem. So if you're making people more employable, it definitely helps people to get out of their current state.
I'm studying photography in NICC right now.
It's increasing drastically right now because India kind of realized that you can't just sell shitty products and stuff with really bad pictures. So plus you got like travel journalists everywhere, and India just like wants to catch up with the rest of the world. And everybody can like it started with the phones. Everybody could afford to buy a phone. Now they can buy a camera. So I got like photographers everywhere, and people are paying you to actually take photos.
I'm studying graphic design.
I'm studying communication design at NICC.
There are a lot of startups coming up in India, so there will be a lot of need for graphic design.
People don't really assume, like that design can make money, but from what I've seen, we start earning a lot quicker than other people. So yeah, there's definitely scope.
It's something I love to do, and also because there are a lot of people that need graphic design right now.
Honestly, I was afraid of blood and I suck at math.
I'm studying economics, maths, and stats in St. Joseph's College of Arts and Science.
I'm graduating out of a bachelor's in visual communication, which is a media course that covers a little bit of everything from writing to photography to basically filming and video editing.
It depends. If you just want to be a regular mechanical engineering, you just want to be a regular mechanical engineer, there isn't much scope, in the sense that you're just gonna do the run of the mill stuff in a run of the mill company, and there isn't much scope there. But in the cutting edge of things, there is a lot of scope in one area that I'm interested in is material science. Lots of buzz when it comes to nanotechnology, new materials, things like that, and things in the thermal domain. A lot of it being how to cool down your chips, computer chips, things like that.
As of now, I don't think athletics is a healthy option for me to make a living out of. So I'm going to continue till about my degree is done, and after that I'm planning to do something that I'm passionate about, like sports management, since sports has played such a big part of my life. So I'll do sports management abroad.
Oh, I'd like to pursue an MBA. So I'd like to further my studies in economics for a bit and then pursue an MBA.
Future plans to become a photographer, sports photographer more specifically.
To be a designer and have a design studio of my own.
I don't know, like start working, have a nice job, open up my own studio, get married, have children. Yeah, same thing. Oh, travel a lot. Yes.
As of now, interested in fundamental research, things like nanotechnology, things like that. So I guess somewhere at the juxtaposition of uh, fundamental research and patentable technology, starting something.
I like writing, but right now I would probably want to go into advertising, like photography and cinematography and advertising.
The hobbies I'd say is I love motorcycles, so I do go to the workshop at times, work on bikes, really passionate about racing, and other than that, music plays a big role in my life.
Sports. I like rides. Anything else? Gaming, with movies, of course.
I enjoy listening to music. I play a lot of basketball, play table tennis. I love to travel and I love to cook.
I like reading, I like writing. I love anime, I love Japan. And you have so many things coming to Bangalore right now. You got Japan Haba, you got Comic Con that suddenly everybody loves, but everybody hated when they introduced it here. And you got so many TV shows. You got Netflix in India right now, which is pretty good. So yeah,
I I like sketching and illustrating.
Favorite musicians.
I like the Scorpions, I like Guns N' Roses. But one musician that I really connect with is probably David Gilmour.
CCR.
Well, my favorite Indian band right now is a band called the Downtroddens from Kerala. It is a heavy metal band, but they infuse a lot of folk elements and a lot of groove into their sound, which I think is really awesome. And you can not only headbang, but you can jam to it as well. You can even dance to it.
Favorite Indian musicians I'd say is Raghu Dikshit, Scrat, and Sky Harbor.
The good thing is that it is very easy for any band today to get good exposure, especially on the internet. You've got SoundCloud, you've even got crowdfunding for various projects, and it is much easier to get the word out on gigs or albums as it was back in the old days. If there were any good old days. But the bad thing is now it is so easy for bands to form that bands are just cropping up all over the place. You've got like 100 blues bands, you've got like 100 metal bands, you've got God knows how many hip hop groups or pop groups, and amongst all that, it is very hard for any artist to stand out. So you got both the good and the bad in this sort of scene, but I feel that the Indian music scene is coming up really well, especially through festivals. Well, I mean, where to begin?
Politicians should keep out of a lot of things which they aren't supposed to be in. Like if you take athletics for example, the association, the federation have politicians who run them, so the athletes aren't taken in mind when decisions are made, and that's a bad thing.
There's usually a problem when a woman actually earns more and does better in her career than a man, or especially if it's her husband, because no matter how open-minded you are, you still expect the man to be bringing like the bread and butter for the family, and the woman, whatever she does for work, should always be like second best or whatever it is. But and even if she does start doing better, like there's always you have the ego thing.
one could probably be, it could relate to like gender roles. You have there's so many things related to that. You got men who think women can't do a lot of things. You got men who think that women get too much importance and they don't get any importance anymore. Then you got the LGBT community who gets like nothing.
I would say a big social issue is the acceptance of alternative cultures like homosexuality and transgender people, and it's all a matter of looking at them as human beings, just accepting them. It should be so simple. But the caste system and the sort of patriarchal structure has put it in a lot of people's minds that you shouldn't accept them, and that's a pretty simple problem to solve if you really look at it, but it's still not being solved.
But that's kind of okay in Bangalore right now because everybody's very free-minded here.
I think there are probably two issues in India which are massive problems. One is definitely education. A lot of our country still does not receive the education that it needs to. We have free education until the age of 14, but most people don't even receive that.
Being a student, one of them I would see every day is our education system. I think it's quite rigid, and there's really no room for flexibility, for creative minds, for really passionate people who want to learn a little bit of everything. From what I can see, the first metric they use is your GPA to judge you for everything, from your behavior to your potential as a student, as an individual, and that number is something that they use as a label for you. And I think that is one thing that needs to be addressed, and I think that it's slowly changing the trend, but we need to really accelerate that before we touch the next generation.
And another one is overpopulation. We just have way too many people in our country.
20 years from now, twice as populated as we are, if we don't address that, another issue.
It's not the easiest problem to solve, but spreading awareness, especially in rural areas and among the religious communities. It's quite rampant in some religious communities, and awareness and getting over that mindset.
A lot of people that know me would know that I'd say animal cruelty.
The JNU thing.
It's funny how most people know more about the American elections than the Indian elections themselves.
I tend to be apolitical. I don't get myself involved or form opinions and things like that. If there were anti-national slogans said, then I don't think that that's right. Because if you were born in this country, raised in this country, educated here, and if who you are is because of your country, and then you start saying bad things about your country, I don't think that's fair.
I think Donald Trump is an absolute clown, and I really hope he doesn't get voted to power, because it's a massive issue for not just Americans but for everyone in the world. But is definitely a bigger problem. He has really scary ideas for the public, so that's the scary part about Rubio. So if Rubio gets voted into power, honestly, that's a bigger deal than Trump getting voted into power.
The future of India. Well, we're going at a good pace right now. We're changing a lot of things. We're making, like, with the film industry right now, we got the censor board that could change. We got Bangalore, which could start introducing multiplexes at just 120 rupees a ticket.
It's hard to tell. We are doing well as an economy right now, so that's great. But we severely lack in areas. We have so many religious issues in our country, the conflicts between religions in our country. So I don't think that problem is going to get solved anytime soon. But economically, if we're still doing fine, that is one point of it. But our socio-economic factors really pull us down, which is why things, for instance, like our Human Development Index is still going to be very low. We're currently 135th in the world out of around 175 countries, and I don't think we'll go below 100.
But I think that we'll have a pretty well-educated man force, and if I have to be optimistic, I would say that we'd be quite advanced technically. I don't know about our economic situation and things like that, because I'm really not sure. I have no idea, but I guess technically speaking, we'd have a well-educated set of individuals for every domain. I think that we do quite well for ourselves.
I think it's gonna be good because see, like, whatever I can tell from like what my parents tell me and things like that, they're really into economics. So what they tell me is that there's gonna be a huge improvement in economics, and a lot more people are going to start earning. The middle class is going to suddenly become the upper middle class, and there's going to be a lot more scope.
Well, I would say that we could be a genuine superpower. I mean, our people lock in more hours than people in the Western countries. We have more potential for infrastructure. And I really think in 20 years, if we could, weed out the lazy politicians and the lazy municipal workers and put the right people in place, we could be at par with Western countries.
No doubt in a couple of years' time we're going to be a powerhouse. No doubt in that. Because it's a young population and I feel there's only growth ahead of us. But as long as we nurture it and we build it with a certain strategy, I don't see India being any less than probably Europe or US or any of these big places.
For some reason, we're very chaotic, but somehow it all just works.
No, I don't want to live anywhere outside of India.